Hello and welcome to Golf News Straight Bat. I'm joined by our cricket mat experts, Sham and Satish. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you?
Very good, Imran. How are you?
Oops, my phone has just fallen down. I'm fine otherwise. Right then, let's talk about today's game. After they were thumped by New Zealand by 89 runs, the host and holders Australia knew that they had little margin for error for the rest of the group stage, starting with today's game against Sri Lanka. It was played in Perth, and they cruised to a 7-wicket victory. Sham, what are your thoughts on the game and the performance of the Australians today, knowing that the pressure was really on them?
Yeah, I wouldn't say they cruised to it. Okay, towards the end it was a cruise, but halfway till Stoinis came in, it was tough for them because Sri Lanka were really bowling well, especially Lahiru Kumara. He was working up some serious pace, and he had the Aussie batsman hopping really. So initially Marsh tried to break the shackles, but then he got dismissed. Then Maxwell took over, and after his departure, Stoinis came and just stormed away. What he did was it a barnstorming innings. Otherwise, Sri Lanka was very much in the game. Actually, Sri Lanka fought really well. The one man who made the difference was Marcus Stoinis.
Satish, do you agree with that? Do you think it was a close game there? Obviously, Stoinis took it away from them in the end.
Absolutely, Imran. Just to give it a little add to what Sham said, when the third wicket fell of Maxwell, Australia were 89 for 3 in 12.2 overs. That means they required another 58 plus 11, 69 runs in about 8 overs, whereas they won by almost 3.3 overs to spare. Just imagine the carnage that went through in between. This is the second fastest half century ever in 18 balls, I think, or 17 balls he got.
17 balls.
17 balls he got 50, 54 runs to be precise, because the last one was also a 6. So that was absolutely amazing. But the thing is, Australia need to be really worried about their batting, because but for this such a fantastic knock, this can't happen every other day. This will happen once in a lifetime probably. But this knock saved them against a team like Sri Lanka, who actually didn't have any good fast bowlers in their ranks. They were a highly spin-oriented team. They were dependent on the spinners, where still Vanindu Hasaranga had an off day. But
not just that, Satish, just to interrupt, 4 of their fast bowlers are injured.
Yeah, 4 of their fast bowlers injured, and they are probably looking at the third string of fast bowlers. And if they can keep Australia on their toes, they need to really think about it, especially the form of Finch. I don't know what they will do, because he is a captain. So there is a lot of issues, but again, a win is a win. That should give them the confidence. They have brought the run rate down to half of what they were, minus 4.4 to 2.2, minus 2.27 or something. But still, I would say things are not looking good for Australia at this point in time. And they have also given almost 45 runs in the last 4 overs, when almost their tail was batting, when they were bowling as well. So all these need to be addressed if they have to beat teams like England, or like if they come to the semis, any of the teams like Pakistan, India, South Africa, they won't give you chances like these. And there are so many drop catches by Sri Lanka as well.
So Sham, Satish is clearly very deeply concerned about the Australians. From what you've seen of them from the first 2 games, heavily beaten in their first game, and then they've come back today, but not looking like they're firing on all cylinders. What do you think? How do you think they're going to be going ahead? On Friday, they've got England, which is going to be a tough game.
I know Satish paints a worrying picture, but I'm not so much concerned, because this is exactly how Australia plays. I mean, if you look at today's game, forget Warner fell early, but Mitch Marsh, he came, the way and the freedom which he played is amazing. The kind of confidence he has is amazing despite the situation. And again, Maxwell, and when Maxwell came in, he came in when it was 60 for 2, and he just took off as if it was 100 for 2. That is the kind of confidence they have. And even Stoinis didn't even play himself in. He came on and he's got 2 boundaries and he was up and away. And not just that, they had a very definite plan. They targeted Sri Lanka's best spinner, that is Vanindu Hasaranga. Hasaranga went for 53 runs in 3 overs, so they had a definite plan. Yes, Adams Finch form is worrying because he scratched around for something like what was 42 balls to get 31. So that was a damper. Otherwise, I think uh, Aussies are coming together. Even the bowling I thought was very sharp to except in the slog overs. They were very, very effective, especially Josh was very, very good today. And I think once Mitchell Stark actually is struggling. He's nowhere near his best. Once he also gets into the groove, then Australia will be the team to beat.
You know, they're still missing Adam Zampa. He's been ruled out because he tested positive for COVID. Now, Sham, you've unfortunately had COVID a couple of times. I mean, it can really knock the stuffing out of you. Is there a risk that Zampa, he could struggle to make an impact once he returns to the team? I mean, we don't know how bad he's suffering from it, but the fact he didn't make the game, clearly he's unwell. So how will he be? How will he play? I mean, if he's been suffering from this virus.
I think from what the reports say, the symptoms are mild, and with most people having a vaccination now, actually the COVID reinfections are mild, especially if you're healthy. And for a sportsman, I think it should be a problem because the other day the Dockerel when he played with COVID, he had COVID when he played the game. So even today, Sampa was available for selection, so I think they just didn't risk playing him. He's been isolated, but they didn't want to play him simply because still a long way to go in the tournament. So coming back, I don't think the COVID will affect him as much, but the pitches will, because if you look at the pitch today, especially Sri Lanka's spinners, especially Hasaranga and Tikshna are two of the best in the T20 business, and they went for a lot of runs today. So if they can go for runs, Samba wouldn't have been effective at all. So Sampa's COVID is not a worry, but his effectiveness is a worry.
So you think he'll improve the team? They're not firing that well, but obviously they'd like to have him back in the team, surely.
Yeah, they will have him in the team simply because they need a variation, they need a spinner. But otherwise, I don't think Zampa at any stage will do any serious damage unless they're playing in Sydney.
But again, Sham, on this wicket, Agar also did well. I think one of the best bowlers to bowl, isn't it? 4 overs, 25 runs, and he could bat well.
But Satish, also you should look at the fact that the Australian paceman had put the Sri Lankans on the back foot.
Correct. That's true.
Okay, guys, look, after yesterday's horrible rain disruption, we missed out on the South Africa against Zimbabwe match. It started, then it was reduced, then it was called off, match was abandoned. Fortunately, today was a nice, bright, sunny day, evening rather, in Perth. So let's just recap. We know that Aaron Finch won the toss. He chose to have a bowl. Now, Satish, does it seem that teams prefer to chase rather than bat first? And is there any reason for that?
No, I think Australia wanted to do that because they wanted to bring the run rate down. That's the only way. You set a target, you have a target, and you want to achieve the target. They probably wanted to finish it by 5 overs to spare, but because of the way Sri Lanka's bowled, they couldn't achieve it. But at one point of time, they were worried whether they will win the match to get the 2 points. Thanks to Stoinis, they achieved it. I think this is the way forward for Australia against all 3 teams. Afghanistan and Ireland, they would try to do that to bring the run rate up. But at the end of it, the first target should be to beat England. If they don't do that, then whatever they might do on the run rate part, they might not be able to achieve it because already they are one down. Yes, of course, New Zealand, if they lose one more match still against England and England keeps a clean slate, then the run rate might come into play. But this will be the approach for Australia for sure.
I think they've helped their run rate today for sure. There was, I think, 21 balls remaining, so they've done what they wanted to achieve. Asham, Nissanka and De Silva, they started really well. They put together a good partnership, a solid partnership, nothing spectacular, but they built a good platform. But then there was a collapse. Sri Lanka went from, I think, 75 runs for 1 wicket to 120 for 6. So what happened there in the middle? Were the players panicking? Were they trying to play big shots too soon? What went wrong there?
Actually, because Sri Lanka were a little too cautious, actually, because Perth wickets is known to aid pacemen. And today, if you look at the lift and carry, and the ball was really coming off the pitch. So there wasn't much room to play your shots really. Kusal Mendes tried unsuccessfully, which means he got out, and but other two, that is Dhananjaya and Nisanga, did well to take Australia to a 10-over mark, and they were just reached there with the loss of 1 wicket. But then they were far behind in the run rate, so they need to step up the scoring. So when you need to step up the scoring, you take risk, and when the risk doesn't come off, you lose wickets by the clubs. That is precisely happened with Sri Lanka. They didn't have a choice. But the good thing there was the return to form of Sadit Asalaga, and I love that player. He's a beautiful left-hand batsman, and he's been struggling for runs for the last 1 year. Since the last World Cup, he's been in poor form. But today, he came out in a brilliant manner, and he is singularly responsible for Sri Lanka reaching 157.
What is it about lefties? They just look so much better when they're playing, be it football, be it
natural
cricket,
flair.
be it tennis. Yeah, Satish,
Yeah.
there's something far when you're watching a guy bang with the left
Yeah,
hand, playing with the left foot.
To be honest, Imran, this generation, not many left-handers are so graceful because they want to hit the ball harder. But if you go a little behind, like a Gower or a Cook or many in the international level, they look so elegant, and they have that natural like bat flow, which makes it. And actually, they don't have a very great foot movement. Generally, if you look at the left-handers, their footwork is minimal, but their execution of the shots are so good, and timing, the way they play it, that looks beautiful when it comes out.
Definitely, it really does.
I get the feeling that they have a better hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
You think so, Sham? Yeah, possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you look at somebody like McEnroe, I mean, what a player he was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for a different sport.
Yeah.
And if you look at totally different sport, Maradona, one of the best left foots, Messi, one of the best left foots.
Yes.
They do lefties, either if it's football or cricket, it's a joy to watch. It's really nice. Let's talk about one really fantastic moment of fielding there. It was a catch on the boundary by Bandara. He got Maxwell out. Now, we've seen some wonderful fielding in the tournament so far and some great catches. But I think this particular one is probably right up there. It's probably maybe the best catch of the tournament so far. What do you think, Sham? How good was that?
It was a good catch, but it was not. But we have seen much better catches in this tournament. We have seen some fantastic catches, but this doesn't come anywhere near that. But this was a difficult catch because one thing is it was right on the boundary, and he had to time his jump perfectly. And not just that, when you jump and take a leaping catch, when you land, especially on the boundary line, you need to balance. And he seemed to have done very well. I mean, fantastic game awareness. The way he balanced his body, he didn't even go anywhere near the ropes, just inches away. So, which makes it a very good catch.
And Satish,
to add to that, there is also the speed at which the ball is coming. So obviously you have been pushed a little bit behind because of the force that's coming in. So that way, yes, as Sham said, this is probably one of the good catches. We won't even go to that best level, but had they taken some ordinary catches, like not even like regulation catches, Sri Lanka would have been in a different situation than what they are right now today. That's a sad part of it.
Yeah. And Satish, after the first 7 overs of their innings, Australian batsmen hadn't hit a single boundary. So clearly, the Sri Lankans were really hemming them in. And what were they doing right? What were the Australians doing wrong?
It's clearly Finch is not getting his timing right. So what was happening the other side? Warner was trying to get that extra runs, which was happening. So he can't take undue risk as well. And the fielding was also good. And the new ball does something on Perth wicket. Perth is absolutely bowler-friendly wicket. So in that sense, it's not easy to score, even though the host Australia played many games there. It's a wonderful wicket to bowl on. And that's what the Sri Lankan pacers did. And they did their homework right. They kept it back of length. They didn't give too many balls to hit. They were probing. And in fact, even some of the fours, wides and all that came in were because the ball was swinging or there was an inside edge that was going through. So many close calls were also there, Imran. So it's a wonderful wicket. And Finch, again, like coming back to Finch, he himself is saying, oh my God, at one point of time, he was not able to hit the ball. where he wanted to hit it. So he was so frustrated at that point in time.
And Sham, it looks like most batsmen so far have been struggling to clear the ropes. I mean, getting a boundary is a big achievement, but hitting a six is proving quite difficult. But Stoinis, he hit 6 of those today. How impressed were you by the match winner today?
I think that's a damn good question. Simply because that is precisely what I was wondering. Then I looked at his hits. It's just pure muscular hits, not just muscular. He's timing it, and he's a muscular guy also. So even one of the hits of Hasaranga, I watched it again and again, simply because it was not when the ball wasn't very short, but he swung it to mid wicket in such a flash that I was left actually. It was breathtaking shot, really. I just was left. What did he do? Like kind of, because it was such a clean shot, at least clean as a whistle, actually. So he times the ball well, and he packs a lot of power behind it. So he was scoring sixes at will. If you look at somebody like Maxwell was caught on the boundary, and I think even Mitch Marsh was also caught on the boundary. So and here comes Stoinis, who's clearing 80 meters, 90 meters with ease. Some of them one landed on one of the terraces actually. So massive hitting.
Yeah.
Okay, I think well done to Australia. They needed to win that match, so good for them. Good that the hosts are still in the tournament. Let's have a brief look ahead at tomorrow's matches. England are playing against Ireland. Now, on paper, that sounds like, it should be a one-sided game. But Ireland, they're a plucky little team. They've beaten England in the 2011 World Cup in Bangalore, and they beat them in 2020 in Southampton. So Irish teams have done it before in the past. Can they do it again, Satish?
This England team is a different beast, Imran. You can't come anywhere close to this. These guys are, yes, they play this aggressive brand of cricket, but they have the players to achieve it also. And that's the sad part with the teams like Ireland. They don't have the experience. They might after maybe they'll fire a few little period where they will do well, but after that they will fizzle out. And then that's the time the big teams will wriggle out of the tough situation. So England should sail through tomorrow, to be honest. That's my gut feeling.
Satish is very confident there, but Sham, let's not forget Ireland, they eliminated the West Indies to make it to the second round for the first time in, 10, 12 years. Can they trouble England tomorrow, even just a little bit, maybe?
Not at all. Like Satish said, this England side is a different beast. Because to me they are the best team in the competition. Yeah. Because if you look at their batting, they bat right down to number 7, and I think number 7 or even 8.
No, number 9 almost when Chris Jordan comes in, number 9, 10. So they bat.
Okay, because let's look at the batsmen. Livingston comes at number 7, which means Moeen Ali is coming at number 8. These are established batsmen. These are pure batsmen. They're not like bits and pieces player. These are bad guys who can walk into the team and on the strength of their batting. If they come so low down, it speaks about the strength, the batting strength. Not just batting strength, they have such variety in their attack as well. They have one of the fastest bowlers there. Mark Woods is working up some serious pace. Chris Wokes and really move the ball around. So Stokes is a pretty unique all-rounder. Not just his batting, his bowling also can be quite a handy customer too. And they have Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali bringing you variety.
You have the Sam Curran left-hammer as well. So that
completely forgot Sam Curran, another all-rounder, who could come in at number 9.
10 maybe. So, then you have Chris Wokes.
Yeah, strong team all the way through. It should be. I agree with you guys. It should be. It's just the fact that they've done it before. You never know. They'll be going in that match without any fear. That's for sure. And the other match is New Zealand are taking on Afghanistan. Obviously, New Zealand after that huge win against the host Australia. Afghanistan lost their first game against England by 5 wickets. How do you think this was going to go tomorrow, Satish?
New Zealand are a very clinical team, Imran. Again, they have set roles for each and every person. That's boiling down to Kane Williamson, who is a very methodical captain who knows where exactly he has to do the moves, what exactly. Probably one of the best contemporary captains in the world, like Kane, because he could bring these mediocre players and make them into heroes. That's the hallmark of a great captain. So as long as he is there, I can go with New Zealand any day. Not against Afghanistan. Of course, against Afghanistan, New Zealand will start as favorite because again on the bouncy Australian wickets, Afghanistan has to defend on the spinners. The spinners are proving a bit expensive on these days, excepting if they play Rashid Khan 4 overs safely without giving him any wickets. I think New Zealand should sail through tomorrow as well.
Sham,
and they are confident. And they are confident after beating Australia.
Yeah, he's mentioned Rashid Khan. They'll be led by the all-rounder. Do you think, Sham, if Rashid Khan has a good game, then Afghanistan will obviously fancy the chances?
I think it will be a much closer game than what Satish thinks, because and it's just a feeling, really. Because one thing I'm looking at is it is in Melbourne, one of the biggest stadiums actually, and this is where India play Pakistan also. So again, discounting the spin thing, but I think Rashid Khan on any wicket is a different customer. Like, he doesn't need much turn to trouble the batsman. He really gets under the batsman's skin. So, and also, I think if you look at Afghanistan's got a couple of nippy pacers. They are young, inexperienced, but if on their day they can be quite a handful. So if it is their day, they might run New Zealand close. So I'm actually very keen to watch that match tomorrow.
They both should be interesting games in their own right.
Yes.
We'll see how both teams get on tomorrow. That's all from us for tonight. Remember to head to gulfnews.com for all the latest news, reviews, and everything else. And also remember to follow us on the social media channels, as there's lots of good content on there as well. Thanks to the guys, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.